everyone, welcome to the second episode of Reading Under the Influence with Kristen. I'm Kristen. I'm excited. So today is the final installment of our Black Book series. We're doing chapter 2 today, and that will be the last chapter that we do taped live. So definitely excited about that. I have read further into it. Y'all really get this book. If you have not, it's so good. And of course, we're going to continue talking about Brown Family Vineyards, a few wine facts as well, in general. And yeah, I'm excited, you guys. This is the last episode of this one. Next week, we will be moving on to Miss Cicely Tyson, her memoir, and also the Black Girl Magic Red Blend Wine. But for this week, we're going to finish off this bottle. I'm excited. Again, Brown Family Vineyards. It is the Tribute Blend 2016 Columbia Valley. Sorry about that. 2016 Columbia Valley, guys. Again, this is made in, I believe, Walla Walla. If you, again, I don't know if I said this last week, but one of my favorite things about wine is that it can be made the same grape, the same year, and sometimes even the same place. Sometimes soil will even make a huge difference. I'm not pouring this correctly, my apologies. By the way, if you pour wine, you do want the label, this is just weird, to be facing whoever you're pouring to. I'm not a lefty, so yeah. But again, my apologies for not being here last week. If you did not know, I live in Houston, Texas. And if you didn't know, Houston has been going through a lot. We went through a lot last week through a natural disaster while we also were going through the pandemic like the rest of you guys. And it was a lot. Oh, that's so good. Some wines don't age well because there are expiration dates on wines. Even if you can't physically see them, the wines don't last like that, you guys. And for this, me too, I opened it a little while ago. This is pretty good, still pretty good. But yeah, like I was saying, live in Houston, it was crazy, y'all. No power for days, and then of course when the power came back on, we had to deal with pipes bursting and flooding and all of that. Yo, I was gonna say, what is this alcohol percentage? Because sweetheart, that first sip, whoo, okay. Excuse me. So I'm so sorry, you guys. Somebody really, I guess, wants to talk to me. But yeah, it was so much, y'all. Like I said, pipes flooded. The pipes burst. The apartment flooded. All of that. Luckily, I'm one of the blessed ones that actually have family about 5 minutes away from me, and they live next to one of the biggest malls in Houston. So therefore, their power was not going to go out, and it didn't. So we went over there, and we're safe. Still dealing with the pipe issues. Really, I think yesterday, so Tuesday was the first day that we actually got at least full power, running water. We'll see how long it lasts because the pipes are not perfect, but I'm at least grateful now that I can brush my teeth and I can wash my face and I can take a shower and feel clean. So we are slowly but surely getting back to normalcy, you guys. But yes, let's enjoy this Brown Family Vineyards Red Tribute Wine, which again is so good. And I'm getting sweet undertones, right? I think last year I said cherry and cocoa. I'm feeling blackberry now. That's really what I'm tasting. Yeah, I'm definitely getting blackberry, you guys. Those very rich, dark, rich fruits, all of that. But let me make sure everybody can see it. Okay, so let's get into the book. I'm excited. We are on chapter 2. Yes, we are on chapter 2. My bad. We left it at him basically about to go into why he was having like the best day at that point, and I'm about to explain that and what happened and why, you know, his life kind of flipped topsy-turvy, etc., etc. So we are going to get into chapter 2. We're going to start again. If you have it, please follow along. If you don't, then you can listen to me and enjoy me read. Okay? All right. So, one more sip and cheers. Cheers, you guys. Toast to myself. Okay. So, chapter 2. Whew. Park Avenue was its own world. Part office building, part high school. The 42-floor behemoth stuck out like a sore geometric brick thumb. 12 elevators, 30 companies, 1 Starbucks. One Darren vendor toiling away inside of that Starbucks for coming up on 4 years. Yes, after nearly 4 years, I was still in the same place. But at least I wasn't making the same drinks, or even wearing the same lame green apron. The drinks became more ridiculous with every year. People were no longer satisfied with familiar flavors like gingerbread, pumpkin, and peppermint. Now they needed grasshopper frappuccinos and fucking grasshoppers. As for the uniforms, well, most people don't know it, but Starbucks treats aprons like martial arts belts. Green aprons for beginners, black aprons for coffee masters, and purple aprons for gods. I was a black apron. After working there for 4 years, I was certainly the head nigga in charge. But to be honest, this didn't mean much. Hey Darren, Nicole said, tying the straps of her green apron behind her back. Nicole was a large white woman with a pretty face. She was probably 35 and always in a great mood, no matter how rough customers were. Break. Shout out to those Karens. Like, for real. Because I've done customer service before. And there really are those white women who are just happy no matter what. Nobody can stop their, their zhuzh. So, shout out to those Karens. Back to the book. So, when I came out, the place was packed. Carlos, Bryan, and Nicole were filling cups, making change, and serving pastries as if it were a 5-star restaurant. They were a motley crew. Carlos was an ex-con who committed a crime he wasn't allowed to discuss. Bryan had charcoal skin with a face full of acne and a side of Tourette's. And Nicole, though well-meaning, only saw the world through rose-colored glasses. But I molded them all into soldiers. They were never late, always professional, and knowledgeable about every newfangled drink that corporate handed down to us. But most of all, they were just good humans. I don't have any siblings, so they were the closest thing to it. And even though I was the youngest, they saw me as an older brother. As the line of mourning addicts stretched out the door, I hopped into action. Now, I'm not trying to brag, but I was what you'd call a Starbucks prodigy. No one except Carlos, Bryan, and Nicole knew it, but that didn't matter. I could remember someone's order from 3 months back, mix and match drinks to accommodate special taste, and while doing all that, man 2 registers at once, shuffling back and forth like I was Billy Blanks or Richard Simmons. We had the line within 10 minutes, and I hadn't even broken a sweat. Then I saw him. He had started coming in 2 months ago after his company moved in. Early mornings, he'd enter alone, always on the phone. At 10, he would return flanked by a group of men, all resembling Dobermans. Hold up, y'all. Little sip, sip. Ooh, good. In the afternoon, he'd come in again with a few younger people who beamed at him as he laughed, and he'd tell them to get whatever they wanted. Then late afternoon would arrive, and I never knew what to expect. His appearance changed depending not on the time of day, but on whom he was with. That's interesting. Some good wine, y'all. My apologies. When alone, he was pensive. With his Dobermans, he was focused. With his young disciples, he shined brighter than the sun itself. He'd never order food, and despite his athletic build, well-groomed hair, and healthy olive complexion, I was sure he ran on nothing but coffee. I can't tell you why I did what I did next. I suppose I just wanted to be helpful. He walked up to the counter, earbuds firmly in his ears, his face twitching in frustration. But instead of giving him his regular vanilla sweet cream cold brew, I waited. He nodded his head, then finally said, I know, it's going to be fine, trust me. I've got the board handled. I've served customers on the adjacent register until he looked up, and he said, hey, vanilla sweet cream cold brew, like always. You remember, right? The last of the morning customers had grabbed their drinks, and it was just us at the counter. I don't think you want that today, I said. I didn't know why my heart was furiously beating against my ribs, but looking back on it, I realized my body must have known that this was a pivotal moment in my life, that these supernatural turns of fate are rare. Reader, what you are about to see is what happens when intuition overrides logic, which is the mark of any salesperson worth their salt. People buy based on emotion and justify with reason. Watch. Now, I said last week that one of the reasons why I gravitated towards this book is because I've been in sales before, and that is so true. People will buy anything from you if they like you, really, and then come back later and be like, well, I mean, they were nice, but I also bought it because of this, this, and that. So, really, that is a very true statement. If people like you, you can pretty much get what you want. But yeah. Okay, back to the book. He goes, yeah, hold on, he said into his mic, staring at me. His eyes burned with anger. Why wouldn't I want that today? He asked, growing larger, like a lion with its prey in reach. Because I always hear you on your phone talking about efficiency, and the vanilla sweet cream cold brew isn't built for that. You want something like, he laughed. But it wasn't the kind where someone actually finds something funny. It was the type where you're so pissed off you're about to snap. He took a deep breath, slowly releasing it. Listen, I'm good on whatever you're selling. Just give me my regular. I don't have time for this. Just give him his regular. Stop fucking around. But I didn't listen. What I said next had to be divine intervention because I didn't know where it came from. That's what the last 5 customers also said to me until I gave them another option that solved a problem they didn't even know they had. He clenched his jaw and leaned toward me like he was going to Tyson my ear off. Because, I continued, too committed to stop. Believe it or not, when you come here and order something, you're not ordering a drink. You're ordering a solution. A solution to fatigue, irritability, and anything else that a lack of coffee means to you. So, if you'll indulge me, I'm confident that the nitro cold brew with sweet cream is what you actually want. It has 10 grams less sugar than your regular 40 fewer calories and 140 milligrams more caffeine. But, at the end of the day, those are just numbers. So if you buy the nitro cold brew and don't like it, you can come back and I'll give you your regular free of charge. What do you think? Silence. 10 full seconds of silence. If you don't think 10 seconds of silence is long, just count it out while picturing a grown man staring directly into your eyes as if he's going to snatch the black off of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was tempted to tell him to forget it, that it was my bad, but something told me not to. I just stared back into his eyes until he said, "Did you just try to reverse close me?" He relaxed his jaw and his eyes softened with curiosity. It was then I realized Carlos, Nicole, and Brian had been staring at us the entire time. I felt their hearts collectively skip a beat when the guy spoke, and I remembered the color of the apron I was wearing, and that I was the HNIC. I suppose I did, I said, nodding at Brian to make the guy straight. Excuse me. What's your name? Darren. Darren Vender. Rick Daniels, he said, extending a hand over the counter. I quickly wiped the sweat off mine before grasping his. Nice to meet you, Rick. I see you in here every day. Well, a few times a day, actually. He laughed, genuinely this time. Yeah, I run on coffee. What do you do besides work here? Read, watch movies, hang out with my girlfriend. Normal stuff guys get into in the city. And how much do you make? Damn, how much do I make? This guy was going in deep. I shrugged. Your drink is ready, I said, nodding toward the far side of the counter. Red slowly walked over, never taking his eyes off me, grabbed the drink and took a sip. This is delicious. Thanks for the recommendation, Darren. No problem. I felt uneasy. Something had shifted. Listen, I gotta get to work, but here's my card. Why don't you swing by the office after your shift? Swing by the office? I had no clue what this guy was talking about. For what? An opportunity. What kind of opportunity? He was already walking out the double doors leading to the lobby. Come by and you'll find out. So, did you meet him? Soraya asked, a film of sweat spreading across her naked body, thick with curves all over. She twisted her long black curly hair into a knot. My heart was still beating from our lovemaking session. I took a big gulp of cold water and collapsed back into the pillow. Nah, she popped herself up on an elbow and raised a thick eyebrow at me. Why not? Because the whole thing was strange and mad fast, I said, distracted by her beautiful brown areolas. Plus, I was just messing around. I don't know what made me do it, but I sort of wanted to see if I could actually change this powerful white guy's mind. And you did, she said, tracing my chin with a slender finger. Shit gave me chills. Yeah, but I was just messing around. I don't know what this guy actually wants. Plus, I'm too busy with everything else. Everything else like what, D? You're always saying, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. Isn't this it? Nah, this isn't it. At least not what I envisioned. And what did you envision? Cassandra. I said, man, quit the Cassandra shit. I had to give it to her. Like Ma, she knew how to push my buttons. We met when we were 7. She just moved to the States from Yemen, and Jason saw her at Marcy Playground playing alone. He ran to my house, and when I opened the door, he said he found an alien, pushing her in front of me. When I said hello, she said, Assalamu alaikum. See? He said, nodding his self-satisfaction. We brought her up to show Ma, and Ma slapped both of us upside the head and said, she's not an alien, silly boys. She's just new. You gotta treat her like a queen. I'll skip the corny romantic shit, but we became best friends, and then around middle school became more than that, and have been together ever since. Minus a few minor breakups, she was my Wonder Woman. She laughed. You know what my dad said about you? Nah, what did Mr. Aziz say about me? He said you're a smart guy with a bright future, and just from looking at you, the way you actually listen to people and you're always curious, that you're not like the other guys around here, that you're different. Different how? I don't know, just different. So keep it real with me. Is it really just not the right opportunity, or is it something else? I turned away from her. She had the type of eyes that saw through you. Something else like what? Like you being afraid of what could come of it, but disguising that by saying it's just not the right opportunity because you want to stay here and take care of Mrs. B when she's the last person who needs to be taken care of. Plus, she knows you're holding yourself back for her, D. She just wants you to get started with your life. Damn. The pro of being with someone for more than half your life is that they know you better than you know yourself. The con of being with someone for more than half your life is that they know you better than you know yourself. That is true when you're with people, I guess, you know, who you have those type of things with, you know. I don't know about that, but you know, guys. Alright, I have started. What would I be afraid of? There was a knock at the door. Dar, I brought some pizza home for us all to eat. Thanks, Mom, but who's us? She sucked her teeth behind the door. Don, don't think I don't know Soraya's in there. Hi, baby. Soraya shifted under the covers, wrapping her naked body as if Ma had x-ray vision. Hi, Mrs. D. Mr. Rollins is coming up to join us, so get dressed and come on out. Good thing about living in a 3-story brownstone was that there was plenty of room. Mr. Rollins lived on the garden floor, Ma's bedroom was on the first, and we had a large living room and kitchen on the second, and I had the entire third to myself. I told Ma I could stay on the first floor with her to make a room for another tenant, but she said that I was grown and that grown men need their space. Even though we had all access to the back garden, Ma and I rarely went. First thing, Mr. Rollins loved that garden. He tended it all day and night. Even in the winter, when he'd put up frost blankets, bed sheets, and heat lamps, it blew my mind to see radishes, broccoli, turnips, kale, spinach, and other vegetables sprouting when there was snow on the ground. Second, the man was about as old as Earth itself. He was in his late 70s back then and had lived in 84 Vernon for decades before Ma inherited it. I'd never heard him talk about family, so I assumed he didn't have any. But after Ma's parents passed away only months apart when she was 20, he treated her like a daughter, and then when I came along, he treated me like a grandson. All this made Mr. Rollins the man, a bedside veteran to be respected. Soraya and I entered the kitchen. Hi, Mr. Rollins, she said, landing a wet kiss on his bald, liver-spotted head. He was wearing his usual outfit, the old geezer starter equipped with soft-soled black leather shoes, gray slacks, and a tucked-in plaid shirt with a navy vest over it. Sometimes he exchanged the vest for suspenders. Yes, suspenders. His rosewood cane rested on the arm of his chair. Good evening, Jasmine, he said, winking at her. Jasmine, of course, being the princess from Aladdin. She pinched his cheek. Don't start, old man. Like I said, the man was a bedside veteran to be respected, but if you're going to dish it out, you also got to take it. Take a seat and let's say grace, Ma said from the head of the table. Still rocking the clothes she always wore to and from work, a loose-fitting white blouse tucked into blue jeans, smelling like chlorine. I knew breathing that shit in all day wasn't good for her, but she refused to quit, saying that she was good at her job and needed to feel good at something. Hold up, y'all. Oh, my bad. The four of us held hands and Ma prayed. Dear Lord, thank you for your unconditional love, the opportunity you've afforded all of us to be able to sit down with one another, eat good food, not have to worry about where our next meal is going to come from, and she pulled her hands away, her whole body convulsing like the cough was coming from somewhere deep inside of her, as if a monster had wrapped its filmy tentacles around her insides. Ma, I said, rubbing her back, spit it out. Whatever it is, spit it out. You'll feel better afterward. Thank you, baby. I'm all right. Let's finish up. We grabbed hands again. Sorry, Lord, had a cough. The four of us chuckled. Thank you for the opportunity to see another day. And dear Lord, I pray that you help Darren find his path and that you use him as an instrument to help others in the ways we all know he's intended to. I I pray that Soraya continues to grow her father's empire of bodegas to the farthest edges of your green earth, and that Mr. Rawlings' garden continues to produce delicious vegetables and flowers for all of us to admire and enjoy. Amen. Amen. You know, Mrs. B, Soraya started, popping a piece of pizza onto my plate, you mentioned opportunity in your prayer tonight. What's funny is that Dee has just been presented with one but doesn't plan on taking it. The three of them glared at me as if I had been accused of a crime. I just kept eating. Well, boy, go on, Mr. Rawlings said and hit me with those stank eyes only wrinkly-ass black men know how to do. Yeah, Dar, go on, Ma said, gripping the hell out of my hand. Oh, come on, Soraya. Why'd you have to bring it up? It's nothing, Ma. Some guy at work today, you know those white techie guys, he asked me to visit his office to talk. What you mean, talk? Mr. Rawlings said. Mr. Rawlings asked. What kind of talk he want to do, asking you to talk out of the blue like that? It wasn't out of the blue, Soraya explained, jumping into the entire story. The double registers, what Rhett was like, how I convinced him to buy a different drink, the reverse clothes. Reverse what? Mr. Rawlings asked. Sounds like one of those newfangled sex positions y'all young folk be pressing yourselves into nowadays. Percy, Ma shouted, slapping Mr. Rawlings' wrist. And what, Dar? You didn't go to his office after work? Nah, I said, preparing for whatever she was about to lay on me. But instead, she just pulled her hand away and looked down at the white crumbs on her plate. Then the sniffling came. Come on, Ma. I felt like shit. Mr. Rawlings grabbed another slice of pizza, muttering to himself, and Soraya looked at me like she messed up, which she did. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity, Ma said, staring down at her plate. You know who said that? I took a breath, shaking my head. It's something your father used to always say. Whenever we were going through a tough time or something just wasn't working out like it was supposed to, he'd turn to me and say, in the middle of every difficulty lies an opportunity or more. I always believed him, and he was always right. It's what I told myself when he passed and what I still tell myself today. Look here, boy, Mr. Rawlings said, staring me down. I quickly looked up and away. I said, look at me. He repeated, sounding more serious than the time I accidentally crushed his English peas. Young black folk, even mixed up black and Spanish folk like yourself, don't get this type of opportunity too often. And back in my day, when a white man gave you an opportunity, it came at a cost. You could be a chauffeur, but had to always be available to drive him around, no matter if you had plans with your family or not. You could vote, but someone would break your legs if you didn't vote for the candidate they wanted you to. But either way, learned how to play their game. You could be successful. But I don't want to play their game. I was fine doing my own thing. Working at Starbucks wasn't so bad. I had plenty of time to kick it with Soraya, and most important, I was there for Ma whenever she needed me. But it wasn't until she turned to me, tears running down her cheeks, that I actually considered seeing red. Promise me you'll at least give this a chance. Whatever it is, Ma said. That man must have seen something in you, darling. Something that everyone in Bed-Stuy sees in you. You owe it to yourself to follow up and see what he wants. Promise me? I crossed my fingers behind my back and looked into her eyes. All right, Ma, I promise. That was chapter 2. My bad, guys. A tiny bit tipsy. So again, that was the last chapter I'm going to be reading out loud for Reading Under the Influence for the Black Book. Again, Black Book, Mateo Escariport. If you have not already bought it, so good. Of course, I'm going to finish this on my own. But like I said, always at least 2 chapters. And we're going to also be moving on from this wine, which I've grown to love. And again, I'm not a person, excuse me, who likes red blends. Just being honest. But this is actually really good. And this lasts a while, for real. This, for it to be tasting like this, and I did open it like a little second ago. Trust me, you guys. Also, again, Brown Family Vineyards. You got it. This is the Tribute Red Wine Blend 2016. Made in Columbia Valley. Excuse my cuticles and whatnot. This is the cork. I love the little bead on the cork. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Maybe you can, but I love that little bead. And then you see that purple? Let you know. Brother, you see it? Oh, just let you know some good stuff going on in here. Again, Brown Family Vineyards Retribute Wine. My apologies, I did not order it. I got it from Total Wine. Again, I don't know if I said this last week, I kind of forgot. But Total Wine actually has a lot more black-owned wine brands Ooh, I'm feeling a little tipsy, y'all. A lot more black-owned wine brands than Specs has. So good, sorry. So definitely some good stuff there. Next week, I'm so excited. Let me move this so y'all can see it. Next week, again, so excited. I will be reading the Cicely Tyson memoir, Just As I Am. Also, the wine I prepared, or not prepared, I didn't prepare it on wine. The wine I picked to go with that book itself is the Black Girl Magic wine by the McBride sisters. Their red blend. And I'm excited to finally try. I honestly have not tried their wine yet. Again, because I'm just not this huge person on blends. But when I started this channel, I realized that a lot of winemakers, especially black winemakers, do a lot of blends. I kind of want to look into that because really, unless you all know anything, I haven't seen any black winemakers that have just sold an outright Cabernet Sauvignon, or Pinot Noir, or Merlot, or Sauvignon Blanc, or Pinot Grigio, etc., etc. So, but we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm gonna let y'all go because we're almost at the 30-minute mark, and I will see y'all next Wednesday. You know, Lord willing, if there's not another natural disaster. But please. All right, y'all. See y'all later. Bye. We'll finish my wine. Bye, sweeties. I'll see y'all later.